Hey everybody, what's up? It's Stephanie Gold, aka Golden Lady Shy, coming at you with a new video. So this is part one in the three-part series about divination. The other three-part series that I just wrapped up was about beginning to work with spirits, where I talked about finding, beginning to venerate your ancestors, finding out who your spirit guides are, some do's and don'ts. So if you haven't seen that, I recommend that you would watch that first. If not, let's get right into it. So basically, I want to begin with a quote, and that quote is, "The present is in the past, the future is already here." And basically, in order to begin, when we're talking about divination, we have to look at the concept of time completely differently. On Earth, in order to put our earthly life in order, we need constraints on time, like having days, weeks, months, years, seconds, okay? And that helps us on this earth. But with divination, it's completely different, because in fact time isn't linear, and everybody has a different spiritual path. I'm not knocking anyone's path. Mine personally is with Espiritismo and with Ifa. And I know that in Ifa, it's said that besides your birth and your death, there's no other event in your life that can't be foretold and changed if need be. So to me, that provides the basis. The reason that we have divination is basically a communication tool between our ancestors, between our spirits, sometimes between your higher self and yourself, that enables you and empowers you, because you're able to see a bigger picture, you're able to gain perspective, and with that information that you gather, you're able to make changes and progress in life, okay? That's always what it should be for. You should never be dependent upon any type of divination tool. You shouldn't be running to your spirits asking them, for every single decision that you have to make, because they don't want that either. It's not to form you don't want to form a relationship of codependency with your spirits. You always want it to be that they're helping you ascend, they're guiding you, okay? So basically, I wanted to continue by saying a couple of different tools that I believe that somebody who's beginning to work with their spirits and who wants to get into divination, the first tools that I would choose as a beginner, and I'll talk more about this piece that I have here in a moment, because this is a special piece that someone made for me, so I'll talk about that in a moment, but I just wanted to show that in the beginning. So I have here the tarot cards. That's one tool that you can use. I have the Baraja Española and also the other version on the top. So those are two different sets of decks that I choose to use for divination. Something else that I would recommend to someone who's a beginner would be a pendulum, which you can either purchase one, I know, online in a store, like a metaphysical store, or you can also make one. So basically, if you put a ring like on the end of a chain, and I'm going to do a separate video on pendulums as well. But a pendulum is great when you're beginning for yes and no answers, because the pendulum can tell you yes, no, maybe, okay? So that's great for that. Tarot cards, go more in depth. Then another method of divination is scrying. So you can actually make a mirror to scry in, or you can scry in water, and I'm going to do a separate video on that as well. But people have been using divination since literally the dawn of time, in order to gather information, like I said, and make decisions, and do what they felt that they needed to do in their journey. So if that's for you, then decide which tool is best for you. If you want to start out with the yes or no answers, get yourself a pendulum. If you want to buy a tarot deck, get yourself a tarot deck, okay? The next thing that you're going to want to do is cleanse and charge your tools. Okay, so for example, that's why I have this piece here. Shout out to Nina Soul at Spiritual Vibes and Soul Sisters. She made this gorgeous tarot charger for me. I love it. So they're awesome. She makes beautiful creations over there. Tons of things, with crystals. So shout out to them, definitely. So basically, this is something that I have, and you don't have to have this elaborate necessarily, but this is a tarot charger. So it has different crystals in it, different elements in it that I use in order to cleanse my tarot deck. So I'll put this on top of my deck, and with the combination of the elements that's there, it'll cleanse my deck, okay? Something else that you can use, like you can use cascarilla, you can use agua florida, you can use holy water, you can use sage, you can even use incense. Okay, so you would run it over your deck, you know, the incense or the sage, or past the charger or the crystals over your deck. If you have a pendulum, you can cleanse it. I like to cleanse my pendulums with agua florida and holy water. Okay, so basically what you're doing when you do that is you're removing any negative energy that was on the tool prior to you having it. So once you do that, your tool is cleansed. You can charge it, you can leave it in the moonlight, you can put it around selenite, and you put your intent on it. You know, you say that you only want, you know, specific, if you only want your ancestors to speak to you through it, or you only want a specific spirit guide, you know, you designate it and you're putting your intention in for that purpose, okay? So now you have your tool, it's cleansed, it's charged, okay? And what you want to do is always, like I said, don't become dependent, don't ask questions about things that you yourself can find out. Sometimes you already know the answer, but it can be a confirmation. But like I said, it's never to become codependent, okay? So that is it for part one. Part two, I'm going to go a little more in depth into how to use specifically the different tools. You guys like and subscribe for more education and inspiration. Visit tarotsolutions.etsy for readings and handmade candles. And follow me on Instagram at tarotlife, LYFE. All right, thank you and have a great day. Ashe.